Midday update on the stock market. I'm Rich Pons for Critical Points, September 28th, and it's 11:56 a.m. Eastern Time. Fascinating action in the market this morning in terms of like tape reading, kind of like the people, seems like 100 years ago now, had those little bubble machines in their office, and the little tape was coming out and it was printing prices, and they could actually keep track of the waves of buying and selling off of that tape, and would look for moments of it that it looked like someone was buying something up or they were selling it and dumping it on the market, but not actually impacting the market yet. Okay, and this kind of relates to Wyckoff technical analysis as well. But fundamental people do understand accumulation, distribution, and the patterns it can create in price. And what the model was saying is it was almost as if someone was trying to pressure the market lower. They were selling, but someone else was saying, we know the market's going to bottom in a few minutes or a few hours, and instead of waiting for the bottom and waiting for it to turn up, we've got some volume here. If we want to build a big position quietly without paying too much, then we can buy it and buy it ahead of time. And so that means they must have been fairly brave. So to me, it was net buying until the moment that the interest rates turned negative on the day, and then the stock market took off to the upside, and it took out some trend following measurements that the model was using to say, you know what, we were on the right track, looking for it to come down a little bit today, but also the bottom, and really the bottom's in, it's there. They just didn't bring it down much at all. It was just basically sideways action, but it's in. You got to go with it. So this could be nothing more than a fake out, interest rate wise, but it was fascinating. Once I recognized this, I went to the interest rate market, looked up a 5-minute chart, and lo and behold, I see this wild, crazy action that was topping out at lower and lower highs when the market had been quietly but steadily moving higher, meaning on a daily chart it doesn't look quiet, it looks very strong, but internally they were just simply constantly pushing interest rates higher. Then all of a sudden the interest rates just get really sloppy and rather volatile in terms of intraday. I think that was a telltale sign someone was flipping the other way and beginning to buy bonds instead of sell bonds. And it's kind of like a sponge, okay, soaking up the bonds. What that does, though, is act like distribution in terms of interest rates, a topping formation, a pattern, okay, and warning of the signs of reversal. Well, then it broke down, and when it went negative, I think the stock market, watching all of that, said something's going on here. Okay. Now, we did get some news first thing this morning about on the government shutdown, the Kevin McCarthy and whatever at Congress was just saying, they're not going to let it happen and this and that. Maybe that was encouraging, but I really think it was more of interest rates and also more of thinking that even the economy is strong relative to the jobs report this morning, that granted, that's a sign of, we could still be stuck with higher interest rates, but at least in right this moment, I think they're reflecting or targeting more of the fact economy is moving forward, business is moving forward, money's being made, all right? And they at least taking a brief moment of saying, we're not going to worry about the future, we're not going to worry about recession, we're not going to worry about breaking the economy right now with these interest rates. Again, all of this could be just a fake out, and the model is even warning that it might have just gone higher than expected here on an intraday basis and could be right back down late today into tomorrow to show that overall pattern I was talking about earlier in the day, that it ought to back off some and kind of test yesterday's low. But I would say at the moment, there's at least buy stops that may very well propel the market above the 5-day average. And that could encourage people to at least consider a bottom. And I think the best way I would summarize this is, I think there's people saying this market could bottom here and go higher all the way into next year, but they fully understand they could be way too early, but they're saying take a shot at it. Then you've got some people who are thinking higher into December, and more of the seasonal people saying higher in November and December, and there's got to be a seasonal bottom somewhere now into early October. That kind of attitude, and they're saying just take a chance buying it now, okay? And they're probably more than willing to become depressed and sell it all if the market wants to go back down, and try to stay out of the way and try to manage it, okay? Then you've got the very short-term traders who are probably thinking, my gosh, you hammered this market for 8 days. What do you want, It's highly unusual to be more than 13, and quite often it never strikes that. It's just highly unusual. So why isn't it long enough now? So again, we may learn they just change their mind later. And if interest rates jump, fine. But I must say, the interest rate market on a very intraday basis kind of looked more like a topping action to me. It hit our second upside target range, and now breaking out and turning down. And so we'll just see, and you can just see that even at times when the interest rates ticked up, somebody was buying stocks for some reason. So I really think they're saying this may be close enough to the 200-day average. How much more do you want to pressure? Anybody who's made a huge amount of money to the downside, I would think they got to be getting nervous that if they study the history of how they trade themselves, they're probably saying, boy, that's about all the profit we can hope to get out of that type of analysis or sell signal. We better protect that profit. And the psychology starts changing from saying, sell more, get more out of it, squeeze more out of it, to, hey, how do I get out of this thing? When? And do I even want to lighten up some? And it may be that all we're seeing is some lightening up here right now. But I'm also thinking that even if the market backs off later today, early tomorrow, to show that intraday pattern is cracked, I'm not convinced it's actually going below the low of the week, okay? I really do think there's a chance this market is trying to put in a bottom here, find its feet. At any rate, just fascinating action that, frankly, I thought this might have been some of the better buying, nibbling at this market than we've seen in several days, all right? And again, it may just be that it was just a surge of buying and they back off and they wait to buy more later, or they even become concerned and sell what they just bought. They might be probing at it, and it might be all nothing but a gamble here because, granted, anything going straight down, very difficult to pick the bottom, even though I've had, I think, some interesting amount of success at it at times. At any rate, I got a gut feeling this market is bottom for the week, and I wouldn't be surprised October is going to be recovery, and we'll just take it from there. But just got to warn you, we're not really out of the woods by no means, but it was just interesting behavior for anybody watching this during the day, and I got to stop doing that because I can see I'm just getting too wound up on the minute-by-minute moves here and just need to let the model run. And normally it just uses all that stuff as hindsight to just plug in to the more important trends that we're actually trying to forecast real time. At any rate, rather encouraged actually to see some buying here, and it just seems like I've seen more plus numbers during the day of every day this week than we saw the prior week and the week before. And I just wonder, is it time that they're nibbling and trying to buy this market? So no alerts here because this is so pure timing, dangling ourselves over the frying pan. I wouldn't be surprised. We're looking at the lowest price this week from now into the end of the year. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. Hopefully this is some help. Thank you.